Welcome to Click for IB Biology. Our topic is C3.2, Defense Against Disease. And we're now moving on to take a look at what is called the innate immune system and the process of phagocytosis. There's a PDF of this presentation that's linked into the description. You can download that and add your own notes. And then why not take the quiz, which is linked in the description as well. 10 questions with answers, and you can use that to secure your own learning. The innate immune system. So we're assuming that the pathogen has managed to bypass the barriers to infection. Clotting and wound healing has not prevented the entry of the microorganism, the pathogen rather, into our system. And so we have what is called the innate immune system for our first level of protection. And if we look at this histological slide of blood, we can see the typical size here of red blood cells, but here we have a white blood cell, which we are going to call a phagocyte. And this cell is characterized by having this polymorphic, polylobed nucleus. You can see this here in this particular example. So the nucleus has this big lobe structure like so. So that's our phagocyte, which is going to conduct our innate immune response. And the first part of that response is the process of detection and location of infection. Now, here we have our players here. This is the phagocyte here, and this image here is representing the pathogen. Now, the phagocyte, which is here, this is our phagocyte, just to be clear. The phagocyte is attracted initially to a site of a wound by histamines. So if I just make a note here, so histamines are secreted from damaged cells, and that would attract the phagocyte to that location. But the pathogens also give off chemicals, which the phagocyte can then track and move towards the pathogen in an attempt to find its location. And those chemicals are cytokines. And the phagocyte can move along the chemical gradient of these cytokines, gradually homing in on the pathogen for its destruction. And then once the pathogen has been located, the pathogen is recognized. So we have the recognition step in which glycoproteins, cell receptors in the membrane of the phagocyte, which you can see here, are able to detect the presence of pathogen molecules here. I think these are called pathogen-associated molecular structures. And so the phagocyte is able to recognize that this is a pathogen, and that will initiate the next step in the phagocytic response. And that next step is called the engulfing step, and you can see that the phagocyte is extending its cytoplasm around the pathogen. And if I just put P for pathogen there, and so it's extending the membrane around it like so, and these structures are called Pseudopodia, or false feet, I believe is the translation of that. This is the engulfing process, and when the membrane meets here and fuses, it fuses, and then we create this structure called a phagosome. And you can see in this image here, this micrograph image, there's a phagosome here. This is within the cytoplasm of the phagocyte, and within that there are a number of pathogen structures located. Now, once the phagosome is formed, we then have vesicles, which are called lysosomes. These will migrate towards the surface of the phagosome. and on contact with the phagosome, they will empty into the phagosome hydrolytic enzymes. So those hydrolytic enzymes are going to break down protein structures and any feature of the pathogen, bringing about its progressive digestion and, of course, destruction. And then the final stage in phagocytosis is that the phagosome migrates to the membrane of the phagocyte. It will then fuse in a process which looks very much like exocytosis, and the fragmented remains of the pathogen are released outside of the cell. So in many organisms, this is actually the termination of the innate system. However, these molecules, just for reference, these molecules here can actually trigger the adaptive immune system, where we have a type of organism that has that adaptive immune system. So let's just returning to finish off this discussion on phagocytosis, then the innate immune system gives us a very rapid response. It's non-specific. It doesn't matter which type of bacteria. The phagocytes will track them down, will track down any type of pathogen, irrespective of its identity. There's no memory involved in this, and so there's kind of no learning or improvement upon the innate system. And this system is found in both invertebrates and vertebrate organisms. So this is the innate immune system response to pathogens in the tissues and in the circulatory system. So our first look at the adaptive immune system video, there's the link there on the left. Chance to subscribe to the channel, greatly appreciated, in the center there. And here's the playlist on the right hand side, which will allow you to access all the videos in this particular playlist and topic of C3.2, Defense Against Disease.